Welcome to Miss Nam's Math World. Today we are going to discuss how to get the annual net chargeable income and also how to get the annual or even monthly income by knowing how much we need to pay for the tax. That means I don't know annual income, but I know the tax I have to pay. So please look at question 2 of the green worksheet. Here is the question. So Kenneth has basic allowance and one dependent parent allowance. So from the table we've discussed in the lesson, so basic allowance and one dependent parent allowance, their allowances are 132,000 and 50,000 respectively. Finally, he needs to pay for the salary tax for this value. Then we need to find his annual salary first, and after that we find his average monthly salary. So we need to handle which parts of the tax payable are required to handle. Alright, so let's check for the things which is about this value. I mean, we split it into different sorts of parts. Alright, so let's start. Step 1, we need to check how many parts we are going to separate to do it. So when we do so, find the maximum tax payable for each part. So the way to do so is to multiply the values. And then for the remainder, we don't have a maximum, so we have no need to check. So we check it one by one, 1,000, 3,000, so the maximum here. And then 5,000 and then 7,000. So let me magnify the screen so you can see clearly. After that, we need to check this part, how much we can get for separating this part of money. That means for the salaries tax, and we need to check whether it will be more than $10,100. So the first layer, 1,000. And then it is less than the total value. Then the next layer, 3,000. So add them all together becomes 4,000. So it is still less than the salaries tax. That means, let me write it here, which is still less than 10,100. So it's still less than, right? So let's move on and becomes 9,000. So it is still less than $10,100. And then if we add this one, that means the fourth layer, then it will become $16,000, which is more than the tax payable, which is not okay. That means we will pay the maximum for these 3 layers, because this one is too much. And then how can I get the remainder part? Because we don't have the maximum, then we can clear this. And then we use, so salaries tax originally will be $10,100. That means for the final one, when we use this value, minus 1,000, minus 3,000, and 5,000. And you will get 100 here, and then $1,100. So you may wonder why we need to check whether we need to separate to how many parts to pay the money. Because if I want to find his monthly salary or the annual salary, then we must be able to get the net chargeable income. Net chargeable income. So for the net chargeable income, then we use the salaries tax to go for the opposite. find it. So right now, step 1 is done. And then step 2, we want to find the net chargeable income for each part. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. First part is $50,000, same as the second part, same as the third part. So done, 2, 3 is done. And then we stop at the next this one. So we change it to be, I don't know, then X dollars. So that means the net chargeable income will be these 3 values plus X dollars. And then we can form an equation by adding the tax payable for each part. And then we get the sum to be $10,100. So there are 4 parts. So we can copy the 4 parts here. So these are the first 3 parts already for the test. So the equation is based on the test. And then finally, the last, use the salaries tax to do the calculation. So see 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you know this part is actually 1,100. So you get 0.14x equals to 1,100. And then we can use calculator to get the value. So please write more value. And then we can find the net chargeable income to be this one. That means having this value 7,000 something, put it inside, then we can find the net chargeable income. So we have complete finding net chargeable income for each part. 3 parts plus this, you get the last part. Then we go to the final 2 steps. They are find the net chargeable income. That means we add all of them together. So this one is actually the step just after step 2. So after that, we can find the annual income, and of course at the same time we find the monthly income, average monthly income. So let's move on. So the net chargeable income will be $50,000 times 3 plus $7,857.1, and you can add them together, and you get the value as shown here. So we can now find the annual income and also the monthly income. So right now, don't forget that we got the basic allowance and the dependent parent allowance. So when we want to find the income, remember we need to add net chargeable income together with the allowance, total allowance. Then we can get the annual income. Divide by 12, then you can find the monthly income. So you can see right now I'm going to add the things, and then after that divide it by 12 months. Allowance as shown here, and also the net chargeable income. Add all of them first and then divide it by 12. So you get $28,321. So we always correct to the nearest dollars. And of course, the question will guide you to do so. So finally, we have complete calculating this question. So this is really troublesome, but it is also worth to understand how you need to pay for it. Alright? Okay, so that means, well, for the calculation, so as a conclusion, so step 1, we need to check how many parts we need to pay. So we need to find the maximum tax payable for each part. Then we can help us to find how many parts we need to do for the net chargeable income. So this is part 2. This is part 1. Part 2. And then part 3 will be, after we find the value of x, then we find the net chargeable income. That means I add all of them together. Finally, we use the annual income becomes allowance plus net chargeable income to help us to find for the average monthly salary. So that's the end of Miss Nell's Math World. See you next time.